everyone, and welcome to our podcast on developing proposals, how to create a strong case. My name is Alexandra, and I'm here today with Ashley,
Hello.
Sharon,
Hi.
and Siki.
Hi.
So, to start off the conversation, I'd like to ask what do you think is important when developing a proposal? Ashley, did you want to start saying insights on that?
Yeah, when developing a proposal, you really want to make sure you research your potential funders because you want to make sure that your missions and values align with what they actually want to fund. And also, there might be like different deadlines and like funding limits. For example, there's the Trillium Fund, and they actually have certain deadlines. So if you miss that deadline, then you miss your funding. And also, you need to know how much how much they can fund, because maybe you're asking for too much and then you might get denied because you asked for too much. But yeah, that would be my main thing is you want to research the funder.
Okay, Sharon, did you have anything else to add?
Yeah, so when we write a funding proposal, I think we need we need to write a clear needs statement, like using real data. So for example, we should say like how many percentage of children in community read at like grade level instead of saying like many kids struggle with reading. And secondly, we have to set clear goals and objectives. Goals like are kind of big picture changes, and objectives are measurable steps. So that will include like our project plan and a detailed budget.
Mm-hmm. And Siki, did you have anything else to add?
Agree with them, and I think there's necessary for a clarify of the problem or need and how the project will address that issue. So all the funders they want to know where their money goes and what is going to happen, and show the project is sustainable and consider how the work will continue beyond to the funding period.
I also agree with you. Another thing I would like to add is that it's important to believe in your proposal, to believe in why you're writing this, how it's going to help you and support you, and then to know your audience, so then you would know how to present your proposal. And then I also think another thing is important to be ready to get denied, because not everything you ask for you're going to receive. So it's just making sure you have that plan, so you know how to go forward in case you get denied. Okay, to move forward, another question we consider was to know why it's important to know how to develop a proposal. And I think it's important to know how to develop a proposal because we will be facing needs where we will actually need fundings. So I think knowing the steps and knowing how to develop a proposal will help us to kind of get those grants and then use them for the needs, whether it's for community, whether you work in an early learning setting. It's important to know how to develop this proposal to support you.
I think why is because it helps funder understand what success will look like and how progress will be tracked.
Sharon, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think like for example, securing funding in early learning and community development expands access to like quality education, improving child well-being and like strengthening communities. So I think that's very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think knowing how to develop a proposal it's important, especially in our careers. Okay, if everybody finish adding on that, I'm gonna continue with what are some strategies that you should follow when writing a grant proposal. Ashley, did you wanna start talking a bit about that?
Yeah, so strategies you want to do when writing an actual grant proposal is you want to make sure that you have things like a cover sheet, and you want to make sure you do an actual like needs assessment and have like a problem statement to show what you're actually what problem you're looking to solve. And the needs assessment can come in handy because it can provide actual statistics and show that there is a need to support your project. And when creating a grant proposal, you want to make sure you have your goal and your objectives clearly outlined and also create a timeline of what you're going to do. So then they know the who, what, when, where, why, and how long, and also create a budget and a budget justification for what you're looking to support.
You really touch up on what I was going to say. I think that yes, a strategy is to always plan, have a strategic plan, and yes, as you mentioned, have a budget in mind, so then you know what to ask for and how much to ask for. And then again, I think the strategy is to know your audience, to know who you're going to ask and what are some of the funds that they provide and who they're supporting, what are their interests. And then you show the real need and then they can fund you if it also benefits them in some way, because nobody's going to fund without having a benefit of it. Anybody else has anything else to add?
Yeah, I want to add something. Founders want to know that your program can last beyond their grant. So this is where like sustainability comes in. We have to show like our plan, how our plan like can keep the program running through partnerships, future fundraising, or community support.
For me, the strategy would be like using complex or technical languages, which makes the proposal easy to read. The strategy would be like using complex or technical languages, which makes the proposal easy to read, and definitely spelling and grammarly check.
Yeah, I think that's important because that shows professionalism and it makes you credible. So maybe you'll have higher chances to get funds. Okay, if we finish adding on that, I'm really wondering what you guys have to say about what do you think are some common mistakes when writing a grant proposal?
Yeah, so some common mistakes are definitely not doing your research and not researching the company, because you might misalign with the funder's priorities. And then also a weak or unclear problem statement. So failing to really clearly define what you're funding for the proposal. So then, the funders don't actually know what they're doing or where their money is going, because that's what they really, really want to know. So really just do your research, let the people know where their money is going and what they're looking to solve.
Siki, did you have anything to add?
Not providing clear justification for the budget item and including ineligible expense or funds.
And Sharon, did you have anything to add?
I think we need to like genuinely believe in the importance of like our funding. Like we have to show our passion instead of just stating the facts.
I also think that another common mistake is not doing a strategic plan, because if you have a strategic plan, then you know which steps to follow and it wouldn't be as overwhelming, and then you can always go back to see where you maybe went wrong and how you would change that. So then you appear more credible and professional to the audience. And then another mistake, I think it would be, as Ashley mentioned, not doing the research beforehand, so you know what you're looking for. And then lastly is ensuring that you actually mention the funders and recognize who has been funding you and say those thank you notes, because that's important even for another funding need. So like if somebody supported you and then you don't give those thank you notes, maybe next time you don't get that funding. And say those thank you notes, because that's important even for another funding need. So like if somebody supported you and then you don't give those thank you notes, maybe next time you don't get that funding. Lastly, how do you guys think this would be important with our work, whether it's in a community setting or early learning? How do you guys think this is important?
I think this is really important for early learning and community development, because if we look at like the Bronfenbrenner's like ecological system, then you can look at that the child's in the middle and every aspect of the community affects the child. So we want to make sure that, we're writing these grants because you want to make sure you're helping the community, because this can help the child, right? And then also if you're working in early child care settings, then you do have to fund for things. There is toys, there is like things you need, there's food, there's clothes that the children need. And having this knowledge to write these proposals can help centers get the funding they need to get the things they need for the child.
I like what you said, and then I also think that this relates to our responsibilities that we uphold for communities, families, and children. And that I think within our work, if some of us may work in non-profit organizations, we also depend on that funding to support those communities. So I think by knowing how to develop a proposal, we will be able to implement those responsibilities and uphold our principles and help the communities. Sharon, did you have anything else to add?
Henley proposal attracts collaborators, volunteers, and additional funders. Well-funded programs contribute to like better academic and social outcomes. Henley proposal attracts collaborators, volunteers, and additional funders. Well-funded programs contribute to like better academic and social outcomes. Grants help bridge educational gaps for low-income and at-risk children.
Okay, Siki, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I was totally agree with you guys. So I think funding is very important because it will directly impact children and family. And this funding can break cycle of poverty and providing equal opportunity, creating more support for community.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, if anybody else has anything to say, you can go ahead. If not, thank you for participating in this podcast, and we'll see you next time.